So you guys ready to have some fun? With no further ado, please help me welcome at this time. You know him as the voice of Baby Sinclair. You know him as the voice of Master Splinter. And as a little red furry monster, please help me welcome Kevin Clash. Absolutely.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Not the mama.
And I gave them all names. So we got that up.
In an effort to get you, by the way, how are you doing?
Getting older. Now I'm actually working on Fraggle Rock now, which is a lot of fun.
Oh.
Doing some stuff on location with Uncle Traveling Matt, which is a lot of fun, helping Mr. Dave Goals out. So it's been a lot of fun.
That is fantastic.
And have any of you seen the new Fraggle on Apple TV? Isn't it beautiful? It's wonderful. Yeah, so they're going into their second season, so.
Fraggle Rock was such a favorite of mine growing up, so to see some of these things make a comeback, it's I don't know if it makes me feel old or happy, maybe both at the same time.
No, it's definitely old and happy, but it's exciting because it was a great show, and I'm glad that Apple TV Plus saw that it should come back, so it's great.
In an effort to make sure that we got you out here, your list of accolades goes on and on, but one of the things I wanted to say, but again, wanted to get you out here, was the fact that you are the owner of 27 Emmy Awards, whether they're primetime or daytime. 27.
Actually, 29.
29?
Yeah. So,
but who's counting?
No, but that's. I mean, when you have an amazing show like Sesame Street, and what's nice is Sesame, and you guys don't know this, but since it was on for so many years, over the years, it's become kind of a university. So, as I was there, we bring in new up-and-coming puppeteers and try them out and everything, and have them come in and just watch sometimes and then put them in. And so a lot of, like John Tattaglia, who was the executive producer of the new Fraggle Rock, and he's working with the Jim Henson Company. He was one of our, I remember meeting him at 15 with his mom coming in, and he put on Bert, and I was like, okay, take it off. You're going to take my job one of these days. And then Joey Mazzarino, who was another young kid that I met years ago, coming into working with actually Steve Whitmire on a song of the Cloud Forest. He came over to just visit because another friend knew him, and then he became the head writer of Sesame Street and wrote Elmo and Grouchland, and a very, very funny, very talented puppeteer and writer and director. So.
Yeah, I'm still looking forward to some of your stories that you have to share, but. So do you have 29 trophies?
Do I have 29?
Yeah, do you have the actual trophies?
Yeah, but what I've been gifting them to friends and family.
I was going to say where
Yeah, I've been like, hey, you want Yeah. So I have friends in Australia that I've given one to. I have, my lawyer has one.
So if you give an Emmy award to somebody for Christmas, what they're like, how do I repay that?
They don't. It's my loving them that I give it
fantastic.
to them. So,
that's fantastic.
to sit all of these things around. I know John Stone, who directed the show and wrote the show for years. He made a coffee table out of all of his. It's beautiful. It's like all these, and then this big glass, on top of it is beautiful. Yeah.
That's great. Do you have?
Everybody has their own thing that they do with them sometimes.
Is there one that maybe means a little bit more than
the
some
first
of
one? Of course,
the first one.
Well, yeah, because I was nominated with Fred Rogers and my buddy LeVar Burton. And we were all nominated. And I actually, Dulcie Singer, who was executive producer at the time, it was in L.A. and I was in Baltimore. And she said, "Would you like to come out? We'll fly you out if you want to be there." And I said, "No, I had already framed. You get a certificate, of your nomination." And so I framed that already. And I thought, no, I was like Fred and LeVar will get it. And I remember laying in bed, got a call at midnight because, of course, it's 3 hours earlier.
Right.
And Dulcie saying, "You got it, kiddo." And I remember jumping on the bed. I was married at the time to Gina. She's like, what the hell is going on? And I was jumping on the bed. Woke up, couldn't go back to sleep. Was calling my drama teacher at school, and, that I had in school. And yeah, so that's the first one.
That's amazing.
And then when Gina and I got a divorce, but we're still the best of friends. We were divvying up stuff, and I was saying, can I? She said, "No, you can't have that. You got that when we were together. You get a kid." So I get to go down and see the first one at her house, and Shannon's chomping at the bit. My daughter's chomping at the bit. I'm going to get all of them at some point.
This is true. Well, except for
the ones. Yeah, she said, "No, she's really mad with me because I've been." You gotta stop giving them away.
This is gonna be a documentary in about 10 years.
Yes.
When she goes and does like a documentary where she goes and finds them all over the world. Like, all right, today we're going to Australia to go try to find.
Guilt them into giving them all back to her. Well, it's my dad's. Yeah.
So I just recently got off a Disney cruise, and one of the things that they do there is they have Pirate Night. And every single time that they have Pirate Night, they show two movies. They always show Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, and they always show Muppets Treasure Island.
Yeah, because that was through Disney that was produced. Sure.
Do you have any, first off, can you think of a better pirate movie than Muppets Treasure Island?
It was the best. It was the best. And Chip, I'm always getting Jim Carrey or Tim Carrey wrong, but it's Tim Carrey. It's Tim Carrey.
Tim Carrey, yes.
Yeah. It was wonderful working with him. And Kevin Bishop, who was young at the time, he's a comedian. He's now this big comedian in London. But the work with Bill Beretta, of course Jerry Nelson and good old Steve, and I had to perform all of Frank's characters also because he was shooting Bowfinger at the time. And so he had to sit down and talk to me about this is who Miss Piggy is.
Right.
Miss Piggy's a truck driver wanting to be a woman. He said, Fozzie Bear is Jerry Lewis. Animal, eat, sleep, women. And so he gave me all of the scripts. Also, he said, the one I really loved performing for him was Sam the Eagle. He said, Sam is a Republican. His daughter's a Democrat. He's divorced. He gives you a loan because Frank's background is he came from he was one of the main performers who actually took acting classes and stuff. So his whole method is really honing in on what these characters and who these characters are.
Who they are. That's great. I love those backstories, and I never thought about that.
No, but it's very challenging because. We're working around these performers all the time. That's why Steve was such an amazing performer of Kermit. Right. He was always around Jim, and so we're always around him. And so when we have to do them, because all of those characters are in one scene. It could be 3 of Jim's characters or 4 of Frank's. Somebody has to do them. So we have to really learn how to, get the mannerisms and everything. But sometimes it's hard because I'll get calls from Frank after he has to go in and loop, and it's like, Clash, I can't loop that. What were you doing? What were you thinking? But it's always fun, and it was wonderful to do that for Treasure Island is amazing. We had a great time.
Absolutely. Any Treasure Island fans in here? I mean, gosh, it's
and those songs were wonderful too in that one too.
That being said, like doing Frank's puppets while you're filming and you're doing your puppeteer work, are you then doing the lines of Frank's characters, or is there like a track, or how are you?
What's really interesting is in any of these movies or even television, you do a table read. Okay. And you do the whole table read because the writer is there and you might want to change something before you go into shooting it and stuff like that. So what's really wonderful is since Frank couldn't be there he came in and did some of the.
Okay.
He got to go he was there when he did Hello Lord John. He was there for that because he wanted to be some funny lines, and so he wasn't there. He was there for some pieces of it. So
okay.
What's nice is he did a table read, and I got to record that table read. I get a recording of it, so I had a cassette with me all the time. So whenever I did any of the pieces from the movie, I just listen to that to get the mannerisms and all of that stuff. And then he was always reachable. If I needed to figure out something that he might want to do with that, I would call him up and say, is this cool for should I do this?
Right. How was it? You mentioned Jim, and obviously you worked with Jim Henson. How was it meeting him for the first time? Were you nervous at all?
Well, in my doc, I talk about it because it was the first time I met him was at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I was 17 at the time, and I was like, and he said to me, hey Kevin, could you stay up? Up in audition, and I was like, and Kermit Love, who actually helped design and create Big Bird and Snuffy, the name did not come from Kermit.
Right.
Kermit already had the name, but I was already working with Kermit, and Kermit was trying to get me on Sesame Street, and so he was there which was really good because I had 2 local television shows in Baltimore, and I really needed to get back. But Jim Henson saying that,
Jim Henson says, "Stay, you hang out." Right?
He said no. He said to Jim, he said, "You can't really stay up, but he can do a video. I can do a video audition and set it up." So that's what happened. So across the crowded room, I got to meet Jim Henson. He was amazing. He never came off like a boss, and that was nice because you always wanted to give him then 110% because he never, He just let you do your thing, and if it didn't work, you wouldn't see him again. But fortunately, it did, so I saw him a bunch of times. So that's good.
So along those same lines, one of my favorite questions to ask is, at these conventions or on sets, on a movie set or TV set, you have a lot of stars that come in. Has there been a moment where you absolutely fanboyed out at somebody, where you couldn't speak or you spoke way too much, put your foot in your mouth, maybe said something, they're like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have said that?
So many amazing people over the years. It's really interesting. You don't have time. You have so much to do, and you don't have that much luxury with these celebrities that you don't have time to fan. I look at it, and I've seen, stuff over the years, and I said, I worked with them, and but I have nothing to really, other than the what we shot.
Right.
Which is fine because, you just don't have the time. You don't have the time. I remember meeting Maya Angelou.
Wow.
Maya Angelou, and I was like freaking out. That's when I was like, oh. Not trying to make eye contact. I met Lena Horne was another one that was.
Great.
I was, and then of course Ray Charles was. But again, you're in all. I'm sitting down here and I'm looking up at Ray Charles, and it's just an honor. So and then I want to do the best I can to really get the best, and it's always a wonderful thing. But as far as I don't do autographs. I don't, once in a blue moon, I'll do a photo. But 9 times out of 10, they're asking for the photo.
I was going to say, how many times has that been on the other foot where you're somewhere and somebody goes, I was such a big fan, grew up on it. You're like, how many times has that happened?
Oh, my goodness, it's crazy. Jamie Lee Curtis, this wonderful Oscar winner now, she was shooting a movie in New York, a cop movie, Blue Steel or something like that. And she had just finished Fish Called Wanda. Right. And so the sketch that we were doing was a play date with Elmo acting out Fish Called Wanda on Sesame. But, she was freaking coming in because, I don't have to put makeup on. So I just come in, but the actors and everything have to come in and do it. And so she was like, "Where's Kevin Clash? When is he coming? He should be president and all of this stuff." She was going crazy. She was going off, and then finally met her, and it was like she just grabbed me and almost picked me up. But she was the coolest. She is exactly the way she is when you see her now. She is the most fun, giving, beautiful lady. And I remember she was sitting on one of the wall in 123 Sesame, and we were doing like a PSA thing, little promotional thing. And she went to slip, and I haven't seen so many crew members run after her. And she was just playing. She was just amazing. It was an honor to work with her, and I'm so happy. I'm so thrilled for her now.
In today's world of TikTok and Instagram and viral videos, what is it like seeing some of those, especially the bloopers, like with Robin Williams and Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
They just did an article. Somebody just did an article on the one that I made a flub of his name. What people don't know is there was a little aftermath of that. I was on, and and Elmo's there, and he has a stick, and he says Elmo almost wonders what he's doing, what he could do with the stick, and then Robin says, hey Elmo, what do you? And Elmo repeats that, and he says, well, give it to me, and then of course the genius of Robin Williams, just ad-libs a bunch of amazing stuff, just amazing, goes on and on and on, and all I'm supposed to say is thank you, Mr. Williams, and Elmo says thank you, Mr. Robbins. And Robin Williams just takes a beat. And he'd already given the stick back, and he just said, I'm taking the stick back. And he leaves the scene. And I'm like, and everybody's falling out. And you can even hear Robin Williams laugh. Everybody's guffawing. And I just squashed Elmo through the hole where he was sitting. And you just see his eyes. And all Elmo says is,
Elmo only had 2 lines.
Well, after that, Tim Robbins, who he was doing the movie Dead Men Walking. He was doing audio for it at the same place that I was putting down audio. And I'd already met him and Susan Sarandon when they were together, because they would always just come over to Sesame Street and just can we come in and see what you guys are doing? It was like, and so Tim met me in the hallway and said, thank you for using my last name. I really appreciate that. And I said, it's getting around. Oh my God. No, but it was really fun, and I'm of course we all miss Robin Williams.
Absolutely, and the other one, the Julia Louis-Dreyfus, the cursing. That one is blowing up huge.
Oh no, but even the whole Rocco thing, it was crazy. I mean, it was just an ad lib thing that Elmo was like,
you want a piece of Elmo? You want a piece of Elmo?
He was just going off, throwing puppets around and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, it comes, that was 2003 that was done, and then it turns around and it comes back, and the Rock is talking about it, and everybody, it was very funny, very funny. But that, because it's always there. It's,
right. Yeah, in today's world, it's going to be there for the rest of time, seemingly.
Yeah.
So if you guys have questions, feel free to come up to our mic again. Again, let's be respectful of our questions and of our other con goers if you do have questions.
But if you don't,
if you just enjoy hanging out and listening to some stories. And so I have a question about Elmo and the voice, super iconic voice. How did was that something that you had workshopped yourself? Was that something where they were like, hey, so it needs to be this? No,
Richard Hunt. There was 3 performers who performed. Right. Richard, I was the last. Ryan Mule, who was an amazing performer, who actually originated Dr. Nobel Prize and Barkley and Telly on the show. He decided to pursue his acting and writing. And so he left the show, and then they threw it to Richard Hunt, who was one of the most legendary Muppeteers with Jim Henson and Frank Oz and Jerry Nelson. He took it on, and when Brian was doing it, it was yes. It was this whispery, cool voice, and then Richard, who was a very boisterous person, he was like, Elmo does this, and Elmo, he was yelling it. And so the head writer called over and said, I really don't like what Richard is doing, and I was we have this room that all of the puppeteers hang out in. And I was luckily the only one in there. And Richard came in holding Elmo by the rods of his hands, saying, and he threw it to me. He said, come up with something. And I did. He said, come up and do the voice. And I said,
hello, it's Elmo.
He said, fine. He took me into Lisa Simon, who was the producer at the time, and she said, "Yeah, I know that Norman is calling over, and he doesn't." And he said, "Well, Kevin came up with a voice, and I did it." And she said, "I don't care," and that's how I got it. And that was it. It was 2 more pieces at the end of this. It was actually at the end of the season, so there was 2 more sketches with him, and I got through it, and I went back to Baltimore and hung out with my mom's daycare kids, and started picking up on what they was doing. So I came back in and I did this piece with Emilio Delgado, who plays Luis, where Elmo was imaginary, packing to go on vacation, and everybody started laughing. When you can get a cameraman to start laughing, you know that you're probably doing something. So that's what happened, and then the rest is history as far as that's concerned.
That's great. So it was just kind of on a whim?
We don't, people have been asking me, at the table that, you're a voice actor. We're not voice actors. Jim, we're puppeteers, so Jim will have the table of puppets just like with Fraggle or any other, like even Dinosaurs, and he'll say, or Brian will say, why don't you try this, and we'll pick it up, and if it works, then we get the character. We know we're going to do something on it, and so that's what happened. So, that's what happened. So when the voice is kind of secondary. The character and how that comes that comes in. Jim doesn't really hone in on if the character is coming through. That's it.
That makes a lot of sense. That's something, again, things that you don't think about until they're kind of explained to you from.
I get articles written where character voice of Elmo and Baby Sinclair, and it's really not. We're performers.
You mentioned Baby Sinclair, and I was a huge TGIF fan.
It was a great lineup. Huh?
Great lineup.
Family Matters. Dinosaurs.
Step by Step.
Yeah.
When you first heard the concept of Dinosaurs, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, Brian was actually involved with it. He was, because Jim had already passed away, unfortunately. So Brian was running that, and he was like, I really don't. He said, "You're already doing Elmo. He said, come out and I want you to do Richfield. And I want you to do Ethel, the grandma." Right. And so I said, fine, but again, everything was on the table, and, we all rehearsed it and stuff like that. And Steve picked up Richfield and started working better. And then Ethel was going to be it. I don't know. We didn't really get there. But then I think Dave picked up Baby, and it didn't work and everything. And then I picked it up, and they started doing, and I just started saying, stupid, stupid, stupid. And that's exactly how the baby feels about his family. So Brian said, "Oh, there you go again. Okay, you do Baby." So that's how that happened. But I actually came out to do Richfield and Ethel. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Have you stumbled upon jobs more jobs like that where you were supposed to do something or you were auditioning for something and then they said, "Well, why don't you try this?" and then you ended up getting that?
No, that was really the only time. And then Brian asked me to do Ninja Turtles, and he said, "I got something for you other than babies and stuff like that. Would you try this?" And he really didn't know if I was going to do. They would think about getting a person to do the voice, but it worked out. I did it, and they liked what I was doing, shooting him, and so that stuck. That was a fun. That was a fun movie to do.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, because with all of the different actors in it too. You're playing not just all puppets and all creatures, but to play off of actors and everything. And it was, you had to play it real. He finally adopted. He actually adopted, and he didn't really want to have anything to do, for teenagers. And so I had to play it that way. Matter of fact, I combined it with, if you remember, Miami Vice, James Olmos, who played the captain. I wanted to put that coolness of Splinter, and then Pat Morita, who from Karate Kid.
Yes.
So I wanted to put that oldness, but also his sense of humor, because Pat Morita is a funny guy. So I put those two together and created Splinter. Yeah.
Did you get
my Splinter? Because it's gone on to be a bunch of people.
Right.
Have done
now
some amazing
working
things
on those projects, especially Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You, as you said, Pat Morita is funny, and you wanted to kind of put that. Were you able to change? Did you change any of the lines to so that way to something that you felt would be more funny?
I was just talking to because I asked, "Who do you want? Kawabunga? Do you want?" I Made a Funny. Oh, Made a Funny was just an ad lib. I just threw that in there. Made a Funny was an ad lib. Kawabunga was already there. Right. But Made a Funny was was something. And then we have this outtake of because we have breaks and there's time with stuff that have to be set up. And I just had this puppet was so beautifully built. It had ooze. It had these wires that you could make ooh with his lips and everything. And so I just started singing New York, New York with him. And it was everybody fell out, and the footage is somewhere. I hope that can come out somewhere, because that's hysterical. That was really funny.
Yeah, we got to
have, and it was at the time that Splinter was was tied up against the fence where Shredder was going to come out and beat them. And so he's all like, with Vaseline all over him, and he looks like he's getting ready to die. And then he's just saying, "These vagabond shoes are long too straight." It was and I just came into my mind and started playing around with it. And they recorded the whole thing. It was pretty fun.
Now with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there was times where I've talked with Judith Hogue, who was April O'Neil.
Got to see her, yeah.
And she said that it was weird because because the suits were so heavy that there wasn't always character. There wasn't always the turtles there. It was just sticks with paper plates and things on there.
Yes,
so, do you feel like, where do you go with yourself and your work to be like, well, there's nobody there, I'm not talking to anybody, so how do you keep this realistic?
Well, it would be more challenging for Judith because she's seeing sticks and stuff. I'm looking at the puppet. I got a monitor down there. I'm looking at Splinter, so it's easier for me. So all I need to hear is the voices, and I know what I need to do. It's a lot harder for an actor,
right?
Because again, it's like she's seeing a stick with a tennis ball on it. And she has to act to that. She can hear the voice and everything. That's why. So watching one of my favorite movies, Roger Rabbit. Can you imagine? What's his name had to do with that?
Right.
Amazing actor, but I can't remember his name. But so it's more challenging, not for the performers, not for puppeteers.
It's interesting, I guess. Yeah, because you're not looking at anybody eye to eye. You're
you're bringing that up. Gates McFadden is here.
Right. Yes.
And Gates was our movement. You probably don't even know.
No.
But Gates was our movement director for Labyrinth. Can you believe that? She took all the puppeteers to the zoo to figure out how to bring those characters to to bring the fireys and all of that stuff. Did
anybody in here know that?
No.
All right, so now you have to go to Gates Q&A and ask her about that.
Of course, I'm excited because I haven't seen it since 2000. Whenever we did the premiere and stuff like that. But Gates was wonderful. She was wonderful, and I worked with her very closely because I was assistant puppet captain to Brian, and so I would go over to her flat and we would mark out some things and things to do and everything. And she was amazing. She was really, and to see how she worked with Sherry Weiser, who played Hoggle, and it was a very, 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 very physically hard thing for Sherry to do. And Gates was like amazing. She was amazing. She really was. And then there was Charles Augans, who you guys don't know about, who was a choreographer. Amazing choreographer that lived in London. He helped us also with the choreography and stuff like that. He lives in D.C. and he's still working in choreography at one of the colleges there. But those two really got us through a lot.
I had no clue. So what's it like when you get to see somebody like that again at a convention that you haven't seen?
I've seen Judith. It's like, oh my God, it's like, even Jennifer Connelly, who we worked with when she was 15 years old. It's amazing. You're like, because she was, she's like a sister. She was growing up with us.
Right.
So it's wonderful. It was wonderful to see. To work with people like David Bowie was amazing. That's one of now. See, you talking about fan like crazy,
right?
I was like, and that's still my stupid. I didn't get a shot of him at all, and we recorded a lot of the stuff at Abbey Road in London.
Oh, hold on. Time. You're just gonna gloss over that. Oh, I got to record at Abbey Road. Let's talk about recorded at Abbey Road. How amazing is that?
You're talking about pinching yourself. And the Monty Python guys would come over because they were friends. And one night we were there until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And Jim Henson had this green Kermit the Frog Lotus. He would ride it in London. And he said, Kevin, you need a ride? Oh, yes, yeah. So I'm in there. But it was, that you could pitch. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. To not only be there, but to be able to record with Bowie, because Bowie did all the songs, all the music for Labyrinth, and that was amazing. Yeah.
So again, you mentioned how we're not a voice actor, a puppeteer, but the talent that it takes to keep a voice, keep somebody in character for a long period of time, then to take that character and have them sing.
Oh yeah. We all love singing. We all love, you'll hear Steve talk about it. We take it's very, very major thing that we don't take it for granted as far as when we get and do anything with music and the puppets are doing instruments, we get we get solos of all of those instruments that we do, so we learn them with those characters. So we're not, that's why a lot of musicians come up to us. It's like, how'd you do that? Because no, but we really take it very, very seriously. And the same thing with singing. When you hear you hear a Muppet Show, 4 or 6 part harmony, it's there, and it's 100%. It's not putting ringers, professional singers to do it. It's all of us, and we love it. It's a part of us.
I can't sing, so I can't imagine being in a character of some.
And to be singing with people like Alicia Keys or it's like Placido Flamingo and I mean, and you're doing these voices, and you have to really believe that you're doing it, and but it's really, really wonderful, and they get a kick out of it. They just love it.
Has there been a time? I'm sure it was early on in the career, but but you've been to so many things, whether it was like a TV show like Scrubs or Times Square. Has there been a time where you had to just stop and go, wow, this is my life, how did I get here?
At the White House, with the Easter egg roll, standing there, and all of a sudden there's Michelle and Barack coming to us with the kids, and Michelle's mom, and I'm like, this really happened? Yeah, and just wonderful, very approachable people. And I remember taking a shot with Roscoe, who plays Gordon, and Leslie Carrera, who plays Abby Cadabby. We were all in a line taking a picture with Barack, and I have Elmo, and I literally bite Barack's head, and that's the shot that they took. And I thought for sure, and we were going to do the Easter egg roll the next day. I thought for sure they would not let me in there the next day. And I remember Michelle coming back down and seeing her, and she said, "What?" She said, "I already have them blown that up, and it's in my office right behind me, framed." Wonderful, down-to-earth, sweet, cool people. I saw them have an argument, Michelle and her mom, about does Chicago have the best theater as opposed to New York? And her mom was like, "What are you, nuts? New York is much better. We get good, but it's not like New York." It's very, very down to earth people, and it's always wonderful to be around them. And all of I've got to be around a lot of the presidents and first ladies and stuff. It's always a lot of fun.
Elmo is probably the only person or monster that can get away with biting the president of the United States.
Apparently. I'm not in the jail or anything.
I want to talk about your relationship with Brian Henson and
Mr. Brian.
I mean,
I house and dog sit for him now.
Wait, you?
No, because I live right down the street from him, and my dogs love their dogs, and so I said, I'll go over. Yeah, Brian and I, the backstory for us is he was 22, I think, and I was 25, and he was the puppet captain. I was assistant puppet captain on Labyrinth, and that was the first thing that we worked on. He's my brother. But the whole family, I just love them dearly. They're very, very supportive and very giving, and they're just like their mom and dad. Like their mom and dad.
And I want to, transition that.
Lisa winning an Oscar, isn't that amazing?
Absolutely. That's
with Del Toro and everything. Have you guys seen Pinocchio? Oh, it's amazing. It really is amazing. Yeah, but so I'm very happy to see her up there. And
I want to talk about Happy Time Murderers. Has anybody here seen Happy Time Murderers? Yeah, a couple. Yeah,
look, I have.
Again, the premise of
the challenges, people don't really understand the challenges with movies. You have this concept, you have this idea, and he's had it for 10 years. And he, and cultivating it with the writers, and then you get a movie company, and they might have a different take on how they want to do it. And I'm hoping that one of these days, one of these months or years, he gets to show his director's cut because it's different and it's wonderful. It, you know, and it unfortunately got pulled out of context as far as what the movie was, and you know, I was very upset about that. But it was fun to work on. It was really fun. I got to do 2 really kooky puppets, Lyle and Mr. Bumbly Pants, I think, the rabbit and everything that was a little obscure. Melissa McCarthy loved him. Melissa, oh my goodness, you're talking about an amazing lady, and her husband Ben. It was so much fun to work, and I got to work with Melissa early on. While she was doing the ABC sitcom that she was doing, she came in and did a celebrity vocab in LA when I was there, and she was wonderful then. And then to get to see her again was great. She's an amazing, funny lady, and her and Bill Beretta, the stuff that they did that you didn't get to see in the movie. I wish that they get to work together again because they were magic. They were really, really magic. She's amazing. I can't wait to see her in Little Mermaid.
Absolutely. That's I'm super excited for that. Now you mentioned, you're like, oh, well, you know, just I had these 2 puppets, and you know, has there been a role, a puppet that you wish that you got to spend more time with? Maybe it was a one-time thing. You're like, man, I would have really liked to bring this person to life a little bit.
Splinter is that.
Splinter?
Splinter is that because when you do a movie, the movie's over. But, you know, when you do a series, I got to do Baby for a long time. I got to do Elmo for like 30 years. You know, if I could get back, and I would love to do Splinter again. Splinter was a cool character. That's a cool character. That's one of my favorites. You know, because I love doing stuff that's not so children's, like because I did it for so much, and so working with that was really, you know, really acting chops and fun and stuff like that. So I would love to perform him again. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean,
well, I'm looking forward to this movie that's coming out. I think Seth Rogen is involved with it.
Right.
The next one. It looks great. The designs look really wonderful. I'm hoping that they get back to puppets one of these days. We'll see. But what they're doing, is amazing.
A lot of CGI now, but
yeah, a little challenging. I think I didn't particularly like the ones, you know, before this that's coming out, because it just, you know, you got to be careful with making them too human, because then you lose the sense of humor with them. You know, you want that action stuff, but you can still do all of that without making them look like, you know, lizards and stuff like that. So to me, you know, I just didn't. It just took away. I couldn't connect to them as much as I used to with the other, you know, designs and funness of them and stuff.
Now, I live in Orlando, of course, the theme park capital of the world, and back in the 90s, they had Baby St. Clair as a, you know, and as a character, you know, in his chair, and of course SeaWorld has Elmo and all the other Sesame Street characters. Have you were you ever able to get to the parks and take your photo with the walk around characters?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Jane was highly involved with the Sesame Street Live shows, and so she asked me to go out once with her too, because they was centered around Elmo and his new shoes. There was an episode on Sesame Street they did, and they expanded it for one of the Sesame Street Lives, and so I went out to be there, because she was very much hands-on to help the performers in the costumes to bring those Sesame Street characters to life. And so this was my first time doing something like this, so I was nervous. And so, you know, and Jane, here's Kevin Clash, and I could see the woman who was inside Elmo just excited to hear. So I started walking back and forth with my hands in my pants pockets, and I'm trying to be, you know, like I should be up there saying anything. And everybody started doing a little, my zipper was down. As I'm talking, I'm trying to be. Finally, Jane comes over. Oh, and then everybody laughs, and then it broke the ice, and then everybody started asking questions. It was wonderful. But over the years, I've gotten to go to SeaWorld, to Australia, to SeaWorld, to see the characters, to where's this? The one in San Diego I got to go to and meet all of the cast members and all of that stuff. And also, you know, and the Sesame Place I got to go to. So, it's wonderful. And it's exciting for them, but it's exciting for us to meet because it's an extension of all of it. So it's a lot of fun. It always is a lot of fun.
Is there another puppet, another character that you would have liked to give a shot at you know, obviously with Elmo, it takes your time away from, you can't be multiple, on screen at the same time that you would have, somebody like Gonger.
Well, Ryan Dillon is doing it, so God bless him. He's doing a brilliant job, so.
But is there another, Gonger comes to mind as far as being one of my, Gonger comes out as far as one of my favorite characters. But is there another character that you would have been like, I would have loved to try to bring this person to life? And could you have seen yourself, as Cookie Monster or? You know what?
No. It's very interesting. And I know when they were looking for, puppeteers for Fraggle Rock, they're not my type. Those voices are not my, and those characters are not my type. And I don't like to throw myself into something that I know is not right for me. It's, we know what we can do. And if we think we can go there, we go there. If we're not, we're pushing, to suggest somebody else that we feel as though, because there's no ego, we just want it to happen. So I'm very, very excited for what they've done. I mean, John Tartaglia is doing an amazing job performing Gobo, and he's the executive producer of Fraggle Rock. He's doing an amazing job, and Karen Preller's back is playing Red Fraggle, and Donna Kimball, who's a genius. She's playing Moki this time around, and she actually did the voice of Agra for the character that I did Agra in the Netflix Dark Crystal series, and she did the voice of it, and she was amazing. So I'm just excited about so I don't, if it does, I'd like to work, but I'd rather get something that I can really, I know I can do, instead of just saying, I'll do it because,
Right, that makes a ton of sense. Now, we do have a couple minutes left, but I do want to ask about your house and collectibles, posters.
Well, I'm in the process of moving, so it's crazy. That's another reason why I'm giving out these Oscars, these Emmys and stuff. No, but
well, if you have an extra one, by the way, I
have so much because I'm a huge animation fan. I'm like addicted to it. So I have everything framed that you could even imagine that I have. I have old, 1940s cells, animated cells, Disney cells, and stuff like that. So I'm a huge collector of all of that. I have a collection of. I love Winnie the Pooh, so I have little figurines. Yes. So I'm a huge. Steve and I, we were the ones who were always whatever the next technical, amazing, bows and all of that stuff. So we were saying we were born by the seals of our feet. But so we collect a lot of stuff. But I have a lot of stuff that I've collected over the years.
Yeah, a lot of stuff from characters, whether it's from Dinosaurs, Muppets, Sesame Street.
Yeah, and a lot of times when the toys come out, the merchandising comes out, I'll go ahead and buy all of it and brown paper bag it up, and keep it so that and of course Shan is like, my daughter's like, because that's all going to be willed to her. So, that's, like I said, that's why she's mad that I'm giving the Emmys. But all of that, because I really went gaga over animation cells. I have Hanna-Barbera. I even have cells from The Simpsons did this really cute thing for Sesame Street. So I have a couple of those cells with all the characters on it and stuff like that. That stuff is like, collector's items. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful to have.
One of a kind. They don't make hand-drawn cells anymore.
No. It's very limited. Sometimes they will go back and do some just to, very limited to give out, but it's all computer now.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, any last words that you want to say to our fine folks here in Richmond?
I'm trying to think what's coming out. Just enjoy Fraggle Rock. Fraggle Rock is wonderful, and and go and see, watch Pinocchio. It's beautiful. It's really, really nice. And hopefully there's some other fun stuff coming out soon, hopefully.
Hopefully, maybe stuff you can't talk about, or?
No, I can't.
Oh.
All right, no.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kevin. Please give it up for Mr. Kevin Clash.